Welcome to the Clockwork Lantern Tavern, where the lanterns glow softly, the gears turn gently, and even the quietest mysteries are given time to breathe. Tonight's story begins. The Goblin had been banned from inventing things on Tuesdays. This was not a formal law. It was simply a rule the tavern had agreed upon after the incident with the self-whistling spoon. Unfortunately, it was Tuesday. The Clockwork Lantern Tavern was enjoying a peaceful hum. Pipes ticked softly. Lanterns glowed amber. The wizard gnome was explaining something unnecessarily complex about kettle aerodynamics. Glint sat on his bar stool, teal eyes half-lidded, listening to everything. That was when the goblin slammed a dented copper kettle onto the counter. "I have improved tea," he announced. Tamsin did not look up. "You say that every week." "Yes, but this time I mean it scientifically." The dragon companion perked up immediately. "Does it explode?" "Only emotionally," the goblin said proudly. The wizard gnome squinted. "Tea is not meant to be improved. It is meant to be steeped." "Steeped is boring," the goblin countered. "This is engineered." He flipped a switch attached to the kettle. The kettle hummed. Not the polite hum of something content. The ambitious hum of something that believed it deserved applause. A thin spiral of steam rose into the air, glowing faintly green. Glint's head tilted. "That color," he murmured. "It's invigorating," the goblin declared. "I have added a mild catalytic infusion process." "That is not a real sentence," said the gnome. The goblin poured 3 cups. The liquid shimmered like optimism mixed with bad decisions. The dragon companion grabbed one instantly. "Wait," Glint began. Too late. The dragon took a sip. He froze. His eyes widened. Then he stood up straighter than anyone had ever seen him stand. "I can hear the pipes thinking," he whispered. The tavern fell silent. The dragon turned slowly in place. "They're discussing pressure distribution." The pipes above them ticked innocently. The gnome blinked. "You cannot hear pipes think." "I absolutely can," the dragon insisted. "They're arguing about expansion ratios." The goblin beamed. "Enhanced awareness. See?" Glint slid down from his stool. He examined the steam rising from the cup still on the counter. The glow was subtle, but steady. "What did you add?" he asked calmly. The goblin puffed up. "A minor essence extract from clockwork moss." The gnome's face went pale. "Clockwork moss amplifies resonance." "Yes," the goblin said brightly. Glint nodded slowly. "Resonance of what?" The goblin hesitated. "Everything?" Above them, a lantern flickered slightly. Across the room, 2 patrons began speaking at exactly the same pitch. The dragon companion tilted his head sharply. "The floorboards are humming in B minor." Tamsin gently removed the cup from his claws. "Goblin," she said slowly, "you have made tea that amplifies perception." "Yes," he said proudly. "And given it to someone who already notices too much?" she added. The dragon clutched his temples. "The spoons are gossiping." Glint turned to the goblin. "You didn't invent tea," he said gently. "You invented louder listening." The goblin's grin faltered. "I just wanted it to feel special," he admitted quietly. "Like it mattered." The tavern softened at that. The gnome sighed. "Tea already matters." "It's warm," Tamsin added. "It's shared," said Glint. The goblin looked down at his shimmering kettle. The dragon companion blinked rapidly. "The pipes have stopped arguing," he said faintly. "I think they're judging me." Glint carefully lifted the kettle and turned the small switch back to neutral. The green glow faded. The tavern exhaled. The dragon slumped into a chair. "The spoons are silent," he said with relief. The goblin stared at the kettle. I didn't mean to make it noisy, he murmured. You didn't, Glint said softly. You made it intense. There was a difference. Tamsin poured a fresh cup. Simple, unmodified, honest tea. She handed it to the goblin. He sniffed it cautiously. It's plain, he said. It's steady, she replied. He took a sip. His shoulders relaxed. The dragon companion took a careful sip of the new batch. I can no longer hear the furniture, he confirmed. The tavern laughed gently. The goblin stared into his cup. Maybe, he said slowly. Tea doesn't need improving. Glint climbed back onto his stool. Sometimes, he said, inventions are louder than comfort. The goblin nodded. He unplugged the kettle's extra wiring. Not entirely. Just enough. The Clockwork Lantern Tavern returned to its usual hum. Pipes ticked softly. Lanterns glowed. And the tea, once again, did exactly what it was meant to do. Warm hands, slow thoughts, and bring people close enough to listen without turning up the volume. And so the lanterns dimmed, the tea cooled, and the city settled into its patient rhythm once more. If you'd like to return to Gearwing City, there will always be a chair waiting for you. Lanterns lit, stories shared.